Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 21 Days of Business. If this is the first time you're catching this video series, welcome. My name is Yasmin Salem Hamden, aka Yaz, and I am the founder of coachesandcompany.com. We are your go-to digital destination for all things legal in your entrepreneurial journey. And all through the month of November, we are going to be sharing interviews with some of our favorite guest experts each day, answering your questions about your business. And what is entrepreneurship? A conversation around entrepreneurship without a discussion on social media and leveraging social media to reach your customers, to market your business, to market your services, and more. And that brings us to today's guest, the lovely Shannon McKinstrie. Shannon is a social media whiz, an agency owner, and a business coach. And what we're going to be talking about today is how you can use Instagram and simplify your Instagram strategy for success. And I know that with all the features that Instagram has to offer, your head might be just spinning, right? Where to begin, where to focus, what do I talk about, what do I share, what do I use, how do I use it? And I get it. I certainly understand. And I'm super excited for this reason for you guys to hear from Shannon, for you to get clarity, hopefully, on how you can avoid the overwhelm and really use social media in a way that feels great for you and allows for you to serve people and to grow your business with ease. And with that, hello, Shannon, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so pumped for this.
Oh my gosh, I am too. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those that are not familiar with you yet, if you could please share a bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Shannon McKinstrie. I live in Cary, North Carolina, originally from the Washington, D.C. area. That's where I started my business. And I was starting just really local with my own community, doing social media management work. I just knew I have a background in communications and marketing from Virginia Tech. And when social media started kind of going from personal to business, I was like, this is what I want to do because I just really love social media. I've always kind of chosen to see the joy and the happiness part of it. I know it can get really crazy, but I realized business owners were really overwhelmed with like how to show up and what to do. So I kind of started with my local community, just doing little workshops around DC. And then next thing I knew, I was working with people all over the world. So it just shows social media can give you access to like just incredible things in your business. Never thought I'd work with anyone outside of DC. Never thought I'd do anything other than just managing accounts. Now I mentor other social media managers. I help female entrepreneurs grow their business. And I just know what social media, Instagram specifically, has done for me can also happen for you.
I love it. And I think it actually is very important for us to address this, is the elephant in the room, that while Instagram and social media might have a bad rap, some people, like, there's a downside. There is a downside to everything. And we could choose to see the silver lining, which is so great in this context, right? Is social media allows for you to connect with your audience in a way that no other form of marketing, of technology, of any resource and tool available as business owners. Social media is one of a kind, and it can be used in so many ways, and it can be used for so much good. It doesn't have to be bad. And again, that's why I'm so excited for you to be here today and for you to share with our listeners, our readers, our viewers, how we can simplify our Instagram strategy and ultimately use that to support our business in a way that just feels good and feels right. And so could you please start off by sharing with us what does an Instagram marketing strategy look like? How should we be structuring this?
So what I always like to start with, people, you first have to really know who you're targeting, right? So a lot of people might still not sure if they don't have a niche or things like that. Really think about who are you targeting and what are their pain points. You got to know that first and foremost. Because if you don't show up on Instagram with, intentionally, or if it doesn't align with your values, it's going to feel icky. It's not going to feel right. And I always tell people this is the fun part. I know there's a lot of noise out there about you got to post every day. You got to do 3 reels a day. You have to use this many hashtags. You have to do this. No, don't engage. Do engage. Create reels. Don't create reels. It's like, oh my gosh.
All the things.
And all it comes down to is just showing up. I always say with a servant heart. If you're there to serve and help others, you're going to grow. but really understanding what your target market, what their pain points are, how you can fix them. And just know that, your people are out there, they're looking for you. Don't ever feel that it's oversaturated. Don't get lost in all that. That's why Instagram is so cool, because even if they've heard a message 1,000 times from someone else, maybe they'll resonate with you, right? And that's why Instagram, one of the big things people miss is the relatability factor, that personal factor. So you
Yes.
get overwhelmed by features, this, that, the third. Remind yourself every day that Instagram is a storytelling app. It always has been, even when you watch this a few weeks from now, there might be a new feature. It's like, it's fine. It's a storytelling app. And what's cool
Yeah.
is that you don't like showing your face, or maybe you prefer writing over video. That's why Instagram's so cool, is because there's all sorts of different types of ways that you can create content and share it.
Mhm.
But when you look at a whole, and as we were talking about before this, kind of zooming out on
Yeah.
where do I start? The biggest thing to know is content is king. It always, storytelling and content. I know a lot of people are like, I'm not a good writer, I'm boring. I'm like, okay, first of all, false and false. I've bonded with my audience over my coffee choices. I've bonded with them over whatever show I'm binging. People really want to know the person behind the brand. Even if you're a team, that's fine too. They just want to know there's a human, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to content, we also have to establish authority as well as, right? As well as personality and things like that. So
Mhm.
the way it boils down, to make it as simple as I possibly can, is there's three main pieces of content you want to hit. And if you can post 3 times a week, you just do one of each every week, right? And that helps. One piece is educational, meaning tips, tutorials, hacks, just sharing something that establishes you as the go-to expert, that establishes, that authority, that trust with your audience. And if you look at any marketing model, it all goes to trust. That's it,
Mhm.
right? So that kind of content that's like, okay, Yaz knows what she's talking about. Shannon does know what she's talking about, right? So that educational piece of content. Think of FAQs you're asked. Look at Pinterest. I always tell people, I'm like, if you're not sure where to start, go to Pinterest, type in your field and see what topics pop up,
Mhm.
and what your take is on it, and share that. The second piece of content is inspiring, that motivational type. Making people feel seen is really, really important. You'll probably see a lot of people, what they share, and what they share from other accounts is usually that relatable quote, that funny, right? So you can do it, relatability with that inspirational content, telling your story, really build in that empathy, evoke that emotion. And then that third piece of content is the entertaining, and that's relatable. That can be relatable as well.
Mhm.
That's where you infuse your personality. Maybe it's a funny reel that, like, if you coach moms and it's a funny reel about laundry for the 18th time today, right? Like, ha ha ha, right? That's that relatable, funny, entertaining that makes us laugh. So if you can just do something educational once a week, something relatable where your personality is there, they get to know you, the team, or just the
Mhm.
core values, right? And then inspiring, so that they feel seen, they feel heard. And I think at the end of the day, we all want to bond or connect with the account. So if you're sharing content that hits those three pieces, you're
You're
golden.
golden. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I love that. And breaking it down that way just makes it seem so realistic, right? Is that it's not that complex. You don't have to worry about, should I do an IGTV? Should I do a reel? Should I go
Right.
live? Do I need to do stories? How many times do I need to post on like, how can I'm one person, I'm just starting out, or maybe I'm in my first year or two of business. Like, how can I possibly share all of these different formats and hit all of my different
Right.
content pillars and different topics? But when you break it down into this, hit each of these three once a week
Yep.
and come forward and approach your audience and approach your work with a servant heart, that you're
Mhm.
here to serve and you're here to support, and listen to your audience, have those conversations. And I want to hear more from you on how we need to be more social on social media, because I love that that's one of your things. I think of you when I think of that. I really do. And approaching those conversations with your people and hearing from them, right? Don't just tell them what you think they need. Listen to them and hear what it is that they want, what it is that they need, what it is that they're struggling with, and use that to figure out how you can best support them and serve them. And so what is your take on making social media more social? How can we really enjoy engagement and increase engagement on our social media accounts?
So, there's a lot of, again, noise out there saying, oh, you don't need to engage, like just create really good content.
Are people really saying that?
Yes. Yes.
How
I'm
is
like,
that
okay, well,
productive?
I'm also like, that works for Kim Kardashian, right? Like that works for the big guru who has this cult following. For the rest of us, we have to get in there. It's a two-way street, right? So,
Yeah.
I, again, don't want it to stress anyone out. But the way I built my business, especially if you're first starting out, the way I literally built my business was by searching hashtags I knew my ideal clients were using. And I would just
Mm-hmm.
comment on every post I could until
Yep.
they had to look at my profile and they had to check me out. Right.
Yeah.
Like I said in the beginning, I was really only working with people in the DC area because I was thinking kind of small. And I was like, oh, I'll just help people in my community. I would just search DC realtor, DC coffee, right? And I would just comment on every post in my local community, just make sure that my name was in the comments. So that's one way to do it if you're just starting out. If you're like, I don't know who to engage with, I'm not following one, no one's following me. I'm like, start there, just dive in. And
Yeah.
especially maybe you coach other coaches, or maybe you coach social media managers, or maybe you are a social media manager and you just want to kind of bond with other social media managers, right? That's how I found one of my business partners, was engaging with a social media manager hashtag. So
Mm-hmm.
hashtags are a great way to do it. I know everyone gets frustrated with hashtags. And like, instead of obsessing over the number on each post, why don't you pick a couple and engage with them?
Yeah.
Because that's fun. So I basically say, treat Instagram as if you just walked into a networking event. I'm very socially awkward in a group that I don't know people. So for me, it's a dream because I'm like, oh, I can network
Yeah.
without turning red and being awkward and doing the robot, while I'm
Figuring out like, is this conversation over? Like, how do I just go, oh yeah, tell me about
right.
it.
So I'm like, this is a dream for introverts, especially. And I'm not an introvert,
Yeah.
but so choosing hashtags, that's a great way to start engaging. That's where to find your people.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, engagement. I think people are like, what is it? It's just scrolling your feed and commenting on posts. And it's watching a story and sending them a DM. So DMs are a really, really powerful route. But what I tell people to simplify it, I tell people you're probably on Instagram. I think the average usage is like 27 minutes a day. So if you're just on that for 20 minutes a day, going like this, like laughing, sharing stuff to your friends, that's fine. But you're sending signals to the algorithm about what you want to see, but you're not getting in front of your ideal people, right? So instead of doing 27 minutes of scrolling and laughing or whatever, actually get in there and comment on people's stuff, right? So the way I simplify it for people, if you're just like, I've got 30 minutes a day, what can I do, Shannon? Let's say scroll your feed for about 10 minutes, like and comment. And I always tell people, you don't have to comment on a post you don't agree with, or say it's a cat and you're not a cat person. Like, comment on the stuff that like you want to
genuine. Yeah, be genuine.
And
you're not a robot either.
Exactly, because you can buy robots that will do this for you, but that doesn't convert.
Do not recommend though. Yeah, do not recommend.
Absolutely not.
You don't want to hire one and you don't want to sound like one.
No, and there are literally people, and I train some of them, that do this for other businesses for a living. So if this is like, I have no interest, there's people who will do it for you, but you just scroll the feed, comment, and you want to leave genuine comments, right? So like, say you've just announced this exciting offer, I'd be like, that sounds amazing. This is going to change the game. Like, you want to make sure the person knows that you read it. Because what happens is you comment back to my comment. Next time I post on Instagram, my post is at the top of your feed, because Instagram is like, oh, they know each other. They want each other's content. They like each other's content. So the more you engage, the more people see your posts and your content. Simple. So spend the first 10 minutes your feed, 10 minutes with stories, and then I would pick a couple of hashtags, or just spend that last 10 minutes answering DMs, replying to comments on your post from yesterday that you didn't get, right? Again, that's a fun little hack that a lot of people have come to realize lately. If you are posting that day, right before you post, go to the post from the other day that you shared and make sure you've replied to all the comments, and then throw your post up, because that person will get that notification and go to your profile, and hopefully they'll comment on your next one. So Instagram is just watching every single thing we do. They're tracking us. Like, it's creepy if you think about it, but they're literally tracking every single thing you do. They're looking at how much time you're spending on people's posts. So again, if you're not seeing engagement you want, if you're not getting in front of the people you want, you've got to put in the effort. But you could break that 10, 10, 10 into 5, 5, 5. You could do 10 minutes in the feed in the morning, 10 minutes of stories in the afternoon, answer DMs at the end of the day, search hashtags at the end of the day. It shouldn't be overwhelming. It should be fun. Again, I'll keep saying that till I'm blue in the face.
It's so important. Yeah, it's so important. If your social media strategy is overwhelming you, something's not right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way.
It's 15 minutes a day and our clients see consistent growth. Our clients don't do reels.
Nice.
You know, they don't have time. They're very hands off. They send us pictures. We come up with the captions.
Nice.
And that's it. And they still grow. So it's proof that you don't have to, you can do the absolute minimum and still grow as long as your content is good.
It's all about the consistency. It's all about providing value consistently. Would you agree?
Yes. Like before you post it, anything, you need to ask yourself, or think of that ideal person, that, or maybe someone you've already worked with that you want to find someone else like that because you love to work with Sally, right? You're like, okay, well, would Sally find this funny? Would she find this interesting? Would she find this helpful? Would she cry reading this caption? Then share it, right? Like you want to make people feel, you want them, you know, to read the dang thing. Because if they read it, more people, Instagram shows it to more people. So just ask yourself every time if it's interesting, entertaining, relatable, value.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I think that's such an important exercise actually, is before you post something, ask yourself these questions, because I see that advice that you mentioned earlier is post 3 times a day, post 5 times a day, post 10 times a day, however many times, right? Multiple times a day. And, you know, I'm here for the increase in content. I like the, you know, if you're able to create content that is not diminished in quality, do it, you know, but don't sacrifice the quality and put out some subpar content that is maybe not so relatable, maybe not so funny, maybe not so entertaining, maybe not so value. It's just fluffy, or it's just, you know, something that does not add value to your reader's day or to your viewer's day. Maybe rethink hitting the post button.
Or another thing, test it out in stories. If you're unsure if something's going to do well, I'll sometimes test out like a tip or something in stories. And if it doesn't get all those fire quick replies, or if it doesn't
Ooh, I like that tip.
Then if it does do well, I'm like, oh shoot, that's my next post. And then you're 10 steps ahead because you already have basically
validated it,
conceptualized your idea, and then
and you've already planted the seed with your readers, you know, like they're already thinking about this now that you've shared it. I really like that idea. I love the idea of using stories as maybe a laboratory, like experimentation, right? Because it doesn't last forever. It's a 24-hour post. And then if it performs well, if it, you know, hits the nail on the head and your people are like, oh my God, yes, you're speaking to me. All right, let me make this a little bit more permanent and have it live on my feed.
Yep.
Love it.
And then you know, use stories to just ask your audience, what do you guys want to see? Do you want to see less of this? Do you want to see less of that? Especially if you're pivoting in your business, that's a good exercise too. It's just lean on stories, because the people following you, lean on them. Like, don't worry about followers, lean on the people that are already trusting you, are already following you and watching like a hawk. Lean on them to know where to go with content.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's another excellent point is stop worrying about growing your number of followers. Like, stop worrying about the people that they don't even know who you are yet. If you're focused on, I need to grow my following, you are focused on people that don't know you and you don't know them. They're not invested in you. You haven't invested in them. Instead, shift your focus and look to all of the people that, you know, that saying where it's like, if you think 50 people watching your stories is nothing, imagine having 50 people in your house that you're talking to. That's a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people.
We also think if we say the same thing too much, we're going to bore them. No, like that's the problem with, I think a lot of they're trying to reinvent the wheel so much. And it's like, just repeat what you said last week again. In Reels format, now make a carousel. Like so many of the people killing it are literally the same stuff all the time, tweaking it a bit. We need repetition because we're consuming so much every day. I do see a lot of people saying, it's all about quantity over quality. I think that's true for TikTok. TikTok wants you just to like create.
People really say that. Hold on, I'm shocked.
Yes. And
Hold on. People
what
say
would you think?
quantity over I don't want to know who said it as well, but quantity over quality. Wow, that's a hot take.
And it's false.
Yes,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I think it might be true for TikTok because I know TikTok does want
Maybe. Yeah. I understand that.
consistent.
Yeah, if it
That's
is about that.
that's not Instagram. So if you've seen that
Yeah.
advice, unless Instagram takes a crucial turn in the next few months, it's not true. Again, it's a story
Yeah.
app. It's value. Even if it
Yeah.
is a quick little moment where it makes your audience laugh, that's valuable to them.
Yes, absolutely. So connect, engage, entertain, educate, inspire, be relatable,
Yep.
and don't get all in your head over, am I making the most out of Instagram? Instagram gets to be simple. It can be easy. The key, it sounds like, is consistency.
It is. Yeah. And again, I think I've only posted about 2 to 3 times a week forever. I think last week, no, I only did 3 last week, but there's some weeks where I'm just like, I have a lot to say and I'll do
Yeah.
4, but don't force it. Cause if every time I've ever forced a post back in the day, it was right. I had to delete it because I was like, oh, that was awful. So don't force it. If you have nothing to say that week, use stories. At least you'll still be top of mind.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what's so cool about reels is they last 3+ weeks.
Yeah.
So I have reels that are still gaining traction and still out there. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then, because I was thinking today, I was like, shoot, I should really post something. It's a Monday. I like to kind of post that inspirational message on a Monday. I'm tired today and I'm not going to force it because it'll be not, it
People
won't
can
be.
see that. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah. And just, again, lean on your audience, just really use it the way why your people are there. They're there to be entertained. They're there to connect. They're there to pass the time. So create something that keeps them engaged.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I feel like that might be your big message, but I want to hear, what is your big message for our listeners and readers and viewers?
I think the big message, and I've already said it so many times, but is to have fun.
Say it again.
Yeah. I mean, I know people have literally landed in the hospital with panic attacks trying to keep up with the experts that are out there saying you got to do this, that, and that. And I'm like, look, unless you're a content creator and this is your job to create content and that's how you're paid is through Instagram, no, you've got clients, you might have kids, you might have a 9 to 5 still, you can't do it all. As long as you can hit those points. And the other thing, my big message with having fun and enjoying it is also being you. You don't have to be anyone else. If you think you're boring, that's not the case. Post, share on stories the podcast you're listening to. Little things like that you think are so mundane and they're not. That's how I've truly bonded with my audience all these years. It's silly song that came on that I like or whatever it is. When you are scrolling through Instagram and you're replying to things, think about why. What was it about that post that made you want to stick around? What was it that made you reply to her story or his story? I think sometimes we get so caught up and it's think about how you use that.
Exactly. Exactly. You're also a consumer here.
Exactly. And, the way the algorithm works is they want people to stay on the app. The longer you stay on the app, the more money they make because the more ads they can push you. It's a whole, I don't want to bore anyone with that.
Other side. Yeah, the other side of Instagram.
Yeah, the non-sexy side. But if you can keep people on the app, and that doesn't mean clickbaity material, it doesn't mean, sacrificing your values. It just means showing up as you, sharing things that help others. Don't be afraid to sell. Don't be afraid to talk about your services. But what's so cool is you can create an experience. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not a good salesperson. I'm not. I used to say that all the time. I'm like, well, I must be because I'm selling and I'm growing this business.
Yeah.
Use it to document your day. Use it to share things you love. Share more than just what you do and who you are. We're looking for a reason to bond with you. And like I said, if it's a big team, look at Nike, look at all the big wigs. They're telling human stories.
Yeah.
So always remember that at the end of the day, it's a storytelling app. It's the same Instagram. It might have new features, but it's the same Instagram you used 7 years ago when you were putting pictures up of your latte art.
You
It's the same.
remember those were simpler times.
The chronological feed, all that. The last
What a simple time.
like you use the filter built in to Instagram. I
Yes.
always think that those are still there. I'm like, I forget that they're
Are
still.
they still there? Wow, I wonder.
I
I
think
think they probably are.
they
I don't
are. I
know.
think the day, and I was like, oh my gosh, Valencia,
Remember
Clarence,
Valencia?
they're all still there. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I did a post like, who remembers this? And everyone's like, oh, and I was like, they're still there.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I'm like picturing this one. Why did I use this? Was it Valencia? I don't even remember. It would put like it would add weird shadows and make it like purple and orange. Like,
yeah, some had like a border.
I
And
don't even know, but yeah, those were for sure simpler times. Wow. We're the OGs of social media. That's for
like we were
sure.
for stories. Like some people are just
Oh yeah.
train. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys. But it's still the same. It's
Yeah.
connection. It's
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah. Bottom
Period.
line. Bottom line. So have fun,
Yeah.
connect authentically, just be you and don't stress about it.
No.
It's there's this interesting discussion going on right now, and I'm so here for it. I want to hear more people's opinions around, what it means to be creating content and to be sharing your creative expression, whether it's through writing, whether it's through painting or design, whether it's through video, and what it means to really be creating this, what we're calling content. But another way to look at it is that it's art. It is
Yeah.
that creative expression. And as artists, as creators, we're not robots, we're not machines. We can't just be expecting ourselves to crank out A+ quality content / art and think that we're just going to be fine. We need to take that time to recede and to, take that downtime, allow yourself time and space to, develop that creative energy and channel that creative energy. And it's really an interesting discussion that I've been hearing bits and pieces of. And I think it really is relevant as to, you mentioning just don't force it. Don't
No.
force it if it doesn't feel right, because that will show.
And I love that you said that too, because I did a recent reel about social media managers and how a lot of people like undervalue them and say like, oh, you just put stuff up on Instagram. And because it is such it's a creative outlet for me. That's why I still, love doing
Yes.
it for helping others come up with their captions. But the way that people price their packages is to allow us time to be creative, and
Yes.
that you can't put an hourly rate on that sort of thing. So yeah, I love that you said that, because it's like, we also need space to just like think and brainstorm and need time to unplug so that we can come back
Absolutely.
and hit the ground running. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if we as business owners, if you're working with a social media manager, keep that in mind, that you want them to be able to be creative too, right? And don't cheap out on what you're investing in your social media manager. If you think that you're going to be able to spend like, $500 and have the highest quality creativity, written content, visual content, design-based content coming out, like, you are fooling yourself. It's not going to happen. And I think there are probably services out there that you can pay a couple $100 and it's just auto-generated. And that just goes to show, you get what you pay for. And energetically, if you are investing a few $100 versus, depending on the level of package, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, depending on what it is, and up from there, depending on the volume of content being created, if you expect original content, quality content to be created on your behalf and for you to share, be realistic, right?
Yeah.
And be understanding of what that means to have somebody manage and create content for you to share on social media. It's not just throwing together a quick little caption, do a little something in Canva. Like, it's so much more than that. And if you create your own content, what goes into it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
1000%. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, I so appreciate you being here, Shannon, and for sharing with us. And I just love everything you're doing. And I know that you are a new mom to two now. So congratulations again. So how has that been, transitioning from one to two and juggling business and work instead of work-life balance, I'm thinking like work-life integration, right? How can we bring it all together?
I like that. Definitely don't be afraid to ask for help.
Ding, ding,
Like,
ding, 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 ding. That right there is what it's all about. That's the biggest lesson I learned in becoming a mom.
because I think we just think like, oh, or maybe our mom did it all. It's like, no,
Yep.
times are different.
Yep.
As is raising babies and businesses. I mean, it's
Yep.
all, and
It
to work
is.
with clients who understand that like if your baby is,
Absolutely.
and you have to change the time of a call, that they're not going to be like, rah, 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 right? Like,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
very, we're very intentional about who we support and who we help now, because things could happen, right?
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, but I think just don't be afraid to ask for help. And passive income, which helps, that helps a lot. But again,
Yeah.
what's so cool is you can be sitting there with spit up and dirty hair and still grow your business, because Instagram allows you to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can do it. It's a lot, but you can.
Tell us more on your thoughts about passive income. So how have you created that for yourself? And are you
Yeah.
teaching your students how to do that?
Yes. So both in my membership and in my course for social media managers, which is called the Social Biz System, I teach
Mm.
on how to create passive income, even if it's just a $27 Canva template,
Yeah.
I think start small, right? Because it's not truly passive, because you have to put a lot of work into it,
Yeah.
but it's out there. So just think about that stuff that people ask you in the DMs that you're like, gosh, I'm giving a lot of free info away in the DMs, or this is a question I get asked a
Yeah.
lot, and create something around that. It's a great entry level point, because once they get that little template or that little whatever it is from you, they want
The
more.
ebook, the little
Yes, they want more
course,
from
the
you.
guide. Yes.
Yes. It's like, whoa, that really helped. Now, I want more. So yeah, I have an evergreen course going, but again, that took a lot of work, a lot
Yeah.
of live
Up
launches,
front.
evergreen.
Mhm. Yeah.
But now it's great. And yeah, but I'm big on passive income, especially because with the online space blowing up, I know I always tell people, I'm like, I'm the first to go buy an email template or whatever. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
will
Yeah.
save me 5 minutes.
Exactly.
To me, it's worth spending 17, 27, whatever dollars. Yeah, courses, ebooks, all that stuff. People just want your knowledge.
Yeah.
So wrap it up with a little bow.
Yeah. I like to think of it as like that, whether it's a free resource or a small bite offer, like a $50 and under or $100 and under,
Yep.
or even, more than that, depending on what the offer is. I like to think of it as that can be many times a little taste of your style, your style of working or your style of teaching, depending on what it is that you do and how you work with your clients. And so pour yourself into that, really infuse it with your essence so that those that do come into that small bite offer, they get an idea of who you are, what you do, why you do it, what it's like to actually work with you. Because sometimes that next step is hiring you, right?
Right.
To provide your service and to work together.
I used to sell a hashtag vault, right? It was just 5
Nice.
hashtags. And when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, they bought that. Then they bought a consultation, and then they
Yep.
bought full engagement. It was a
Yes.
whole journey, which before I even knew what that meant, because I started very messy, very
Oh,
rough.
don't we all, girl? Don't we
Right.
all?
You learn along the way. But yeah, they're gonna want more of you. They just
Yep.
are. They're already comfortable because they already feel like they know you because of whatever you've
Yep.
purchased. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, I think it's something that they can grab, and now my evergreen offer is almost $1,000, and it's still going. So don't think that passive income can't be high dollar too.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
once they get that taste, they want more. So
I love it. Thank you so much, Shannon, for joining me. I'm so honored to have you here. And all of Shannon's information will be in the description or in the caption or in the notes of this video, wherever you're watching or listening to it. And I will talk to you soon, my dear.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.